Now, my sermon title for this morning is basically Sellout, because that's what the church of Thyatira was doing. It's been identified as being the tolerant church. As I said, they came to faith because of Paul's preaching. Paul was some 60 miles away, but the word of God worked in them. Now, we don't know a whole lot about Thyatira. We do know that Lydia, remember Lydia in the Bible? Lydia was the first European convert. She was living in Philippi at the time, selling purple textiles. Paul came and he preached in Philippi, and she was the very first woman in Europe to come to faith. Now, we know that she was from Thyatira, so this is her hometown. And what's amazing, out of all the letters that Jesus writes to these 7 different churches, the letter to Thyatira is the longest letter with the most correction. But Thyatira is the most inconsequential city. Now, we know that the residents of Thyatira, they were hardworking, blue-collar type of individuals. There were all kinds of trade guilds or current trade unions. But in Thyatira, it was like this mix between trade union and organized crime. It's almost like GM met the Godfather kind of thing. All right, you had to belong to one of these trade guilds. If you did not belong to a trade guild, you would lose your job. Your family would starve. You would be ostracized by the community. But the problem with the trade guilds is they weren't just unionized. These trade guilds would have these parties that would kind of go off the deep end. They would worship their patron saint or their patron god. All of the different trade guilds had a different god that they worshiped. And if you did not worship that god, well, then you would be expelled from the guild. And the overarching patron god of all of the trade guilds was Apollo. Now, Apollo was defined as being the son of God, because Apollo was the son of Zeus. And in Greek mythology, in the Greek religion, people believed that Zeus was the king of all kings and the god of all gods. And here Apollo was his son. And so people identified Apollo as being the son of God. All right, there were even coins that were discovered in Thyatira that identify Apollo as being the son of God. And so if you got sideways with one of these trade unions, well, once again, you'd be out of work. Your family would starve. You'd be ostracized from the community. And so the Christians living in Thyatira, you know what happened? They didn't do all too well. They were falling to the pressures of society. They were tolerating sin, and they were worshiping false gods. They were going wayward. They were significantly off course. They were selling out. And you know the old saying, if you lie down with the dogs, you get up with the fleas. All right, so Revelation chapter 2, beginning at verse 18. To the angel of the church in Thyatira write, these are the words of the Son of God, whose eyes are like blazing fire and whose feet are like burnished bronze. What a powerful statement. Jesus comes out right from the very start, right off the bat. He says, I am the Son of God. You may have been taught, and the people around you may believe that Apollo is the Son of God, but I am the resurrected. I am the living, the exalted, the glorified Son of God, and there's none other. So Jesus identifies himself as the true Son of God, whose eyes are like blazing fire. I love this picture of the exalted Christ. Picture it in your mind. His eyes are like blazing fire. See, the people of Thyatira, they would have understood this. His eyes were penetrating. His eyes could see all things. He had all understanding. And his feet are like burnished bronze. Once again, the people of Thyatira, they would have understood this. They were metal workers and bronze workers. And how you form metal in bronze is you would heat it up. It would be purified, and then they could form it. And so what Jesus is saying, what he's identifying is, as all the impurities, there are none. I'm holy. And I stand strong and firm, and he's ready to stamp out all of the evil.